Next, let's look at the motif section. There are 4 identical pieces in this motif section. Divide into fabric pieces, crochet the edging, and join together. The fabric pieces of the motif section consist of motif 1, motif 2, and the joining together. First, crochet the corresponding number of motifs separately. Then use the stitch method to join them together. After completing, crochet the edging on this long side of the joined piece. Then join it together with the intarsia section. Let's move on and take a look at the crochet method for the fabric piece. Start by crocheting motif 1. Use the magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. There are many new stitches used. All of them will be demonstrated in the chart. Next, please watch the demonstration. Start with the first round. After the magic ring, make 1 beginning chain. Then, crochet 6 single crochets into the ring. After completing, tighten the magic ring loop. Then slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. At this point, the first round is complete. Move on to the second round. Start with a DC 2 and 1. Since it's the beginning of the round, start with 3 chain stitches that count as 1 double crochet. This counts as 1 double crochet. Continue with the first stitch corresponding to the standing stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet. This completes the DC 2 and 1. Then make 2 chain stitches. After completing, crochet 1 DC 2 and 1 into the next stitch on the left, followed by 2 chain stitches. This round is repeated in a pattern of 1 DC 2 and 1, and 2 chain stitches. Follow this pattern all the way around to complete the circle. After finishing, join with a slip stitch into the standing stitch. Tighten. This completes the second round. Now, deal with the yarn tails. Next, let's move on to the third round. Grab the required yarn. Join the yarn in the chain space to the right of the slip stitch. Start with 3 chain stitches. Continue in the current chain space. Crochet 1 double crochet and 1 chain stitch. After completing, skip the stitch on the left. Crochet 5 double crochets and 1 chain stitch in the chain space on the left side. Take a look at this round. It involves crocheting into each chain space, 5 double crochets and 1 chain stitch. Follow this pattern until you reach the starting chain space. Now, you've reached the required position. Continue in this chain space. Crochet 3 double crochets. Then slip stitch into the beginning chain. That completes the third round. Then secure the yarn tails. Move on to the fourth round. Join the yarn in the first stitch to the right of the beginning chain. Work 3 chains as a beginning chain. Crochet 1 double crochet into the left side of the beginning chain. crochet 1 DC2 in 1 and 1 chain stitch into the next stitch on the left. After completing, skip the chain stitch. Crochet 1 DC2 in 1 into the next stitch on the left. Then work 3 double crochets and 1 DC2 in 1. Correspondingly make 1 chain stitch above the chain stitch. Let's take a look. This round corresponds to the previous round's group of stitches. Match them up accordingly. Work DC2 in 1 at both ends. Work double crochets in the middle. For each chain stitch, crochet 1 chain stitch correspondingly. Follow this pattern. Complete this entire round. After finishing, join with a slip stitch on the beginning chain. Pull tight. This completes the 4th round. Next, weave in the yarn tails. Now let's move on to the 5th round. Join the yarn at the beginning chain. Make 1 beginning chain. Crochet 3 single crochets. Then work 1 front post double treble crochet. The technique for this stitch is yarn over 3 times. Then locate the second round underneath. On the right side of the DC2 in 1 stitch, insert the hook from the right side of this double crochet stitch. Come out on the left side. This way, you pick up the entire double crochet stitch. Then yarn over and draw the yarn through. Yarn over again, and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 4 times. When crocheting, you can slightly pull the loops higher. This way, the fabric piece won't curl after completing this stitch. Crochet 5 chain stitches. Then on the left stitch of the DC2 in 1 in the second round, crochet 1 front post double treble crochet. Yarn over 3 times. Insert the hook from the right side of the double crochet stitch, and come out on the left side. Pick up this stitch, yarn over and draw the yarn through. Pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 4 times. And the front post double treble crochet is completed. Here, the front post double treble crochet works together with the chain stitches forming the foundation chain. It corresponds to the chain stitches from the previous round, and 1 stitch on each side. Skip the stitch on the left of the chain, and continue with 5 single crochets in the next stitch, working evenly. Let's take a look. Starting from this front post double treble crochet, the completed section counts as 1 group. Repeat the technique for 1 group until you finish the entire round. Pay attention, after completing the second front post double treble crochet in a group. After skipping the stitch on the left of the chain, continue with single crochets. Follow the chart to complete this round. Once done, in the first single crochet, work 1 slip stitch, and pull tight. At this point, the 5th round is completed. For the Shenwu gate design, after skipping 1 round, this yarn will be used again, so there's no need to cut the yarn for now. Here, I'll demonstrate the method of not cutting the yarn. For another style, you can cut and join the yarn normally before continuing to crochet. Simply enlarge the loop, then thread it through the yarn ball and tighten the tail. Leave this yarn for later use. Now, let's move on to the 6th round. First, join the yarn at the slip stitch position. Make 1 beginning chain, work 2 single crochets. Pay attention not to wrap the yarn from the previous round. Then skip a stitch on the left chain space. Work 1 double crochet, 3 treble crochets. The technique for treble crochet is yarn over twice, draw the yarn through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 3 times. This completes 1 treble crochet. Continue and work 2 more. After completing, work 2 chains, 3 treble crochets and 1 double crochet. Then skip the next 2 stitches on the left. Start from the following stitch, work 3 single crochets. Take a look. Start the stitches from this chain braid. Consider the completed section as one group. This round is repeated by following the pattern of one group. Continue and finish this round while referring to the chart. After completing the last stitch, slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. Now the 6th round is completed. Next, secure the yarn. Let's move on to the 7th round. Pick up the reserved yarn tail from the 5th round. Join the yarn at the slip stitch position. Mindful not to pull the yarn too tight. Then, make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet. Next, on the 5th round from the left side, at the front post double treble crochet, work 1 FPT or 2 bobble. The technique for this stitch is yarn over twice. Insert the hook from the right side of the front post double treble crochet, bring it to front on the other side, yarn over and draw the yarn through, yarn over again, and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 2 times. This completes 1 incomplete front post treble crochet. Continue by working another stitch in the same position, yarn over twice. Insert the hook into the back of the front post double treble crochet, and draw the yarn through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 2 times. Another incomplete front post treble crochet is now done. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. This completes 1 bobble stitch made with 2 front post treble crochets. Next, work 2 chain stitches. Skip the next double crochet stitch on the left side. In the following stitch, work 1 double crochet and 2 chains. Count these 3 stitches as one group. Repeat and work 2 more groups. After completing, pick up the chain braid on the left. Work a DC2 bobble. The technique for this stitch is as follows. First, work 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over and draw the yarn through, yarn over again, and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. This completes 1 unclosed double crochet. Work another stitch. Yarn over and draw the yarn through, yarn over again, and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Another unclosed double crochet is now complete. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook at once. The DC2 bobble is now finished. Continue by crocheting 2 chain stitches. Once done, start on the stitch on the left side. Work 1 double crochet and 2 chains. Treat these 3 stitches as one group. Repeat to work 2 more groups. After completing them, pick up the front post double treble crochet from underneath on the right side. Crochet a FPT or 2 bobble. Start by picking up this stitch. Work 2 incomplete treble front post crochets. Then yarn over and draw through all loops once. That completes FPT or 2 bobble. Take a look. Treat the completed section as one group. Repeat the technique for another group. Continue until you finish this entire round. Pay attention to the first single crochet in each group. Work it into the previous round, specifically the middle stitch of the continuous 3 single crochets. Once done, join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Tighten the yarn. The 7th round is now complete. Next, weave in the ends. Let's move on to the 8th round. Join the yarn at the slip stitch position. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet. Then work 4 chains. Now locate the 4th round. This will create the central chain braid. Pick up a stitch underneath the completed fabric piece. Work 1 double crochet. Continue by making 4 more chains. Consider the part you've already worked as one group. Repeat the technique for one group. Finish crocheting this round. Pay attention to the first single crochet of each group. Work it into the single crochet from the previous round. The double crochet should go underneath the fabric piece. Crochet through the middle of the 4th round. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch after completing. At this point, the 8th round is done. After completion, start crocheting the 9th round. Draw the yarn through the left chain space. Don't pull the yarn tail too tight. Leave some distance. Then make 3 chains as the beginning chain. Work 1 double crochet, 1 chain and 1 double crochet. Work 1 double crochet into the left stitch. Work 1 double crochet in the left chain space. 1 chain, 3 double crochets and 2 chains. Then skip the single crochet stitch. Work 3 double crochets and 1 chain on the left chain braid. Continue in the chain space, in the stitch and the left chain braid, working 3 double crochets and 1 chain in each. Mindful to work the middle double crochet into the stitch. Then work 3 double crochets and 2 chains in the chain space. Take a look. from the part after 2 chains. Consider it as one group. Repeat the crochet method of this group until you finish this round. For the starting chain space, work 1 more double crochet, then slip stitch into the beginning chain, pull tight. Now the 9th round is completed. Then pull the yarn through the loop and tighten it. Now let's work on the 10th round. Hook the yarn out from the chain space on the right side. Make 3 chains as the beginning chain. Then work 1 double crochet and 1 chain in the chain space. Skip stitches and then hook out in the chain space on the left side. Work 3 double crochets. After finishing, locate the 7th round. Find the DC2 puff stitch. Pick up the 2 threads right in the middle of the back of this puff stitch. Make 1 slip stitch. The oval-shaped slip stitch in the diagram. Do not tighten too much as you crochet. After completing it, continue on the chain space on the left side. Work 3 double crochets and 1 chain. On the chain space with 2 chains on the left side, hook out 3 double crochets. Work 2 chains, then work 3 double crochets and 1 chain. Take a look at the part that starts from this stitch. Consider it as one group. Repeat this group's pattern for this round. Pay attention, the slip stitch should pick up the 7th round. Work the DC2 bobble on the 2 threads in the center of the back. After completing, slip stitch into the starting chain. Tighten it. At this point, the 10th round is completed. Then pull the yarn through the loop and tighten. Move on to the 11th round. On the chain space at the right, draw the yarn through. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet. Then on the left stitch and chain braid. Work single crochets 1 by 1 correspondingly. Pay attention, when you reach the slip stitch position from the previous round, pick up the braid above the slip stitch to crochet. That is these 2 strands. When reaching the chain space of 2 chains, work 2 single crochets on it. Continue downward referring to the chart to complete this round. Work 1 single crochet at the starting position, then slip stitch on the first stitch, pull tight. Now the 11th round is completed. Afterwards, secure the yarn ends. Continue with the 12th round. Join the yarn at the slip stitch place. Then make 1 beginning chain. Work 8 single crochets correspondingly. After completing, skip the next stitch below. Locate the puff stitch from the 7th round. On the chain spaces on both sides of this puff stitch, work 1 HDC2 tog. First, work 1 incomplete half double crochet in each space. Yarn over. Insert the hook and draw the yarn through. 1 incomplete half double crochet is done. Work another incomplete half double crochet. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now you have completed 2 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook at once. That's how you work a HDC2 tog. After completing it, at the skipped stitch, start from the left side stitch and work 8 single crochets. After finishing, locate the 10th round. On both sides of this chain space in the long stitches, work 1 FPDC2 tog. The technique for this stitch is: first, work an incomplete front post double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook on the right side of this double crochet, come out on the left, pick up the entire double crochet stitch, draw the yarn through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. That completes the incomplete front post double crochet. Now work another stitch, yarn over, insert the hook and pick up the entire double crochet on the left side, draw the yarn through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. The incomplete front post double crochet is done. After completing it, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. The FPDC2 tog is now complete. Treat the part already completed as one group. Repeat the pattern of this group. Continue until you finish the entire round. Pay attention to the insertion point, where each group starts. Don't miss any stitches. Work the HDC2 tog on the 7th round. And skip 1 stitch below. Continue crocheting on the next stitch. Work the FPDC2 tog. Place it on the 10th round. After completing, there's no need to skip any stitches. Keep going and finish this part. Once done, join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Tighten the yarn. At this point, the 12th round is complete. For the following 13th and 14th rounds, no new stitches or techniques are used. Just crochet evenly into each stitch. Pay attention to the beginning of the 14th round. You need to chain 2 as the starting chain for half double crochets. This serves as the beginning chain for the half double crochets. Then continue by referring to the pattern chart. Finish the remaining rounds accordingly. That concludes the explanation of the crochet technique for motif 1. After finishing, measure the width of motif 1. Compare it with the dimensions provided in the chart. If there's a significant difference, you'll need to adjust and recrochet. Next, let's move on to crocheting motif 2. Motif 2 is essentially half of motif 1. Start with a magic ring. Work back and forth in rows. Some row numbers should always be crocheted from right to left. The new stitch used here is the front post double crochet. Start by making a slip knot and casting on. Then, on the magic ring, work 5 single crochets. Pull the ring tight after completing them. This completes row 1. Chain 3 as your turning chain for the next row. Turn the piece counterclockwise. Work 1 chain stitch. Continue to follow the chart to complete this row. Pay attention, finish with 1 chain stitch, and 1 double crochet. This completes row 2. Next, weave in the yarn tail. For rows 3 through 8, work on the right side of the fabric. Join a new yarn in the turning chain, or the first stitch. Crochet from right to left. Rows 9 through 11 are worked back and forth. For the remaining rows, continue working on the right side of the fabric, crocheting from right to left. Pay attention when you reach row 12. First, join the yarn. Then work 1 chain. Next, crochet 1 front post double crochet, FPDC, in row 10. To make an FPDC, start by working an incomplete front post double crochet in the corresponding position. Work an incomplete front post double crochet in the corresponding stitch. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook to complete it. The last stitch of this row is also a front post double crochet, FPDC. After completing it, move to the first stitch of the previous row, and work 1 loose slip stitch. The remaining rows do not involve any new stitches or techniques. Continue by referring to the previous demonstrations. Refer to the pattern chart and complete motif 2. Now, we have covered the 2 types of motifs needed for the fabric pieces. After completing them in sequence, arrange them according to the positions shown in the diagram. Then use a basting method to sew together all adjacent edges. Before sewing, take a look. Motif 1 is hexagonal. Motif 2 is half of a hexagon. When sewing, just sew together the adjacent edges. The last row of motif 2 has 2 edge stitches that don't need to be sewn. The 2 edge stitches of the row do not need to be sewn. The last row of motif 2 has 2 edge stitches that don't need to be sewn. Here, I'll demonstrate the basting method using a small sample. When sewing here, you are sewing one side of this hexagon. We will treat all the stitches on this side of the row, and 1 chain stitch on each side. As one edge, take a yarn tail that's more than 3 times the length of the edge you need to sew. You can take a bit more if needed. Then thread it through the needle. On the motif you need to sew, weave in the tail at the back of the corner position. Pick up 2 adjacent motifs. Place them back to back. Let's take a look here. Both the stitches and chain stitches appear as 2 strands of yarn. The one closer to you is the front loop. The one farther from you is the back loop. From here, where the yarn tail is located on the motif, exit through the back loop of the chain stitch on the far right. Pay attention. The half double crochet stitch leans slightly to the right. Make sure not to insert into the wrong part. Then insert into the back loop of the chain stitch on the far right of the edge of the motif above. Exit through the back loop of the left stitch. Pull the yarn tail through. Next, insert from the tail end position of the motif below. Exit through the back loop of the left stitch. Insert into the yarn tail position of the motif above. Exit through the back loop of the left stitch. Insert again at the tail end position below. Exit through the back loop of the left stitch. Mindful, if you encounter the beginning chain position, you can sew directly at the slip stitch location. After sewing a few stitches, tighten the yarn tail. This way, the surface won't show obvious visible stitches. It looks more aesthetically pleasing. Continue sewing downward. Always insert from the tail end position. Exit through the back loop of the left stitch. Alternate sewing between the two motifs. Keep sewing until you finish the adjacent edge of these two motifs. After sewing a few stitches each time, tighten the yarn tail. After sewing this chain stitch on the left, the edge will be sewn together. Pick up the adjacent motif and continue. Sew these two motifs together in the same way. Pay attention to matching the insertion points between the motifs. If you notice that the stitches don't correspond while sewing, and there's only a small difference in stitch count, you can adjust it yourself. If the upper fabric piece has one extra stitch, adjust when inserting the hook. Insert the hook into the stitch next to the yarn tail to sew. This is equivalent to skipping one stitch. For similar situations later, make adjustments in the same way. Continue sewing along this edge until it's done. Don't sew the edge stitch of motif 2. After completing, weave in the tail on the wrong side and fasten off. That's how you sew these two adjacent edges of the motif. Next, follow the same method, and sew the adjacent edges of the other motifs. When sewing to the staggered position at the center, just sew according to the pattern as usual. You can reinsert the hook into the already sewn stitches, and sew them again. Then continue below following the previous demonstration, and refer to the joining diagram. Sew all motifs of the fabric piece together this way. That concludes the section on the fabric piece. Next, crochet the edging along the long edge below the piece. No new stitch techniques were used. Here, we are crocheting into the stitches, chain spaces, and along the side edge of motif 2. When picking up stitches along the edge, try to crochet as close to the edge as possible. Take a look. This long edge has 3 short sides of motif 1 and 2 long sides of motif 2. The chart shows for each edge the number of single crochets needed to hook. Pay attention to the motif 1 in the middle. You need to make a SC2 in 1. Refer to the chart for the exact insertion point. Alternatively, you can adjust based on the actual situation. Just ensure that the corresponding stitch count is hooked. That's how you complete the edging. After finishing, one part of the motif section will be completed. Next, take its long side and connect it with two intarsia sections. Sew the adjacent sides together at the same time. Use the backstitch method to pick up the back loops for sewing. Mindful. Skip the top stitch of the intarsia section's edging. Do not sew that one. For the rest, sew one stitch to another. Refer to the previous demonstration to finish sewing this long side. The remaining 3 motif sections should all be crocheted and joined in the same way. That concludes the motif section. Now let's take a look at the edging part. It is divided into edging 1 and edging 2. These are worked on the diagonal corners and around the motifs in rounds. Let's start with edging 1. This involves crocheting the remaining front loops of the diagonal sections. The new stitches used include crossed TR with CH with 1 chain stitch in between, CH3SL picket. Below, please watch as I demonstrate. Grab the required yarn on the last round of the diagonal section at any corner position. Pick up the remaining front loop on the right side and join the yarn. Make 4 chain stitches as the beginning chain for the treble crochet. Then crochet 1 chain stitch for the interval. Continue by picking the front loop on the left side, and crocheting 1 treble crochet. Note, for this round, always crochet into the front loops. Crochet 2 more chain stitches. Complete with 1 crossed TR with CH, with 1 chain stitch in between. From now on, we'll call it the cross treble crochet. First, skip 1 stitch. Crochet 1 treble crochet into the next stitch on the left. Then make 1 chain stitch. Next, on the first skipped stitch, crochet 1 treble crochet. At the same time, wrap it around the stitch you just crocheted. The skipped stitch here is the beginning chain. We pick the topmost loop of the chain. This is the yarn on the left side. This serves as the front loop of the beginning chain. That's how you complete 1 cross treble crochet. Next, make 2 chain stitches for the interval. Then, on the next 3 stitches on the left, crochet 1 crossed TR with CH. That is, skip 2 stitches first. Then crochet 1 treble crochet and 1 chain stitch. After that, on the first skipped stitch, crochet 1 treble crochet. At the same time, wrap it around the stitch you just crocheted. That's how you complete 1 cross TR with CH. Then make 2 chain stitches. This corresponds to the stitch below. Next, crochet another cross TR with CH. Remember, it takes up the position of 3 stitches. Then crochet 2 chain stitches. This matches the stitch below. Take a look. Starting from this cross TR with CH, continue until there are 5 stitches left on this edge. Each crossed TR with CH takes up the position of 3 stitches. After completing the cross TR with CH, you need to make 2 chain stitches as an interval. This corresponds to the stitch below. Follow this pattern until you reach the corresponding position. If the insertion point is on a popcorn stitch while crocheting, pick the popcorn stitch. Simply crochet through the strand of yarn in front of the securing chain. Continue crocheting downward. After finishing, make another crossed TR with CH. Two chain stitches. Without skipping any stitch, on the remaining 2 stitches, crochet a crossed TR with CH and 2 chains. Consider the part already completed as one group. This round is crocheted in rounds by repeating one group. Continue downward while referring to the chart and the previous demonstration. Finish this round. Slip stitch into the starting chain after completing it. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Continue crocheting the second round. Work 1 loose slip stitch into the left chain space. This way, the yarn tail transitions to the chain space. Then make 3 chains as the beginning chain. Work 3 chains as an interval. Crochet 1 double crochet into the chain space below. 4 chains. In the chain space between the crossed TR with CH on the left. Pick up the chain space and work 1 single crochet. 4 chains. On the chain space of the left crossing stitch, work 1 double crochet, 4 chains. On this side, all stitches are crocheted in the chain spaces of the crossing stitches. Skip the chain spaces of 2 single crochets without working any stitches. Continue by working 1 double crochet and 4 chains in the chain space. In the next chain space, work 1 single crochet and 3 chains. In the following chain space, crochet 2 consecutive double crochets, 2 chains and 2 double crochets. Then crochet a picket of 3 chains. The technique for this stitch is, first, chain 3. Next, pick up the front loop of the double crochet below, and the thread on the left side. Then work 1 slip stitch through both. Pull tight. That completes the CH3SL picket. Continue by working 2 double crochets in the chain space on the left, 2 chains, 2 double crochets and 3 chains. Take a look at this part, starting from the first single crochet. Consider it as one group. Repeat this pattern for the group. Continue until you finish this edge. The corner is worked in the chain space, between the 2 treble crochets. No new stitch techniques were used. Just continue to follow the pattern and finish this round. For the remaining rounds, the crochet techniques have all been demonstrated before. Refer to the chart and complete it. Starting from the third round, pay attention to the position of the yarn tail when slip stitching for transitions. The number of double crochets in the chain spaces at the corners and edges is different. Simply continue until you finish this section. That concludes edging 1. Let's move on to edging 2. It's crocheted around the outer edge of the blanket in rounds. The new stitch technique used is reverse single crochet. Please watch as I demonstrate below. Grab the required yarn on the outermost circle of motif sections. Join the yarn at any stitch on a motif. Then start crocheting single crochets. Here, you're actually working single crochets evenly into each stitch. However, when you reach the chain space, the half double crochet stitch on the left can be a bit tricky to locate. So here, you'll crochet 3 single crochets into the chain space. This corresponds to 2 chains and 1 half double crochet on the left. Continue corresponding as you move down. Crochet until you reach the joining point between the 2 motifs on the left. At this position, for the adjacent chain spaces, work 1 single crochet into each chain space. For the stitches that are harder to locate on the right, continue by crocheting 1 more single crochet, like this. Work evenly in single crochet all the way around the outer edge of the motif. Now let's take a look at the actual project. When you reach the point where 2 motifs are adjacent, you need to pick up the single crochet edge of the motif section. Work 1 single crochet into any 2 strands of yarn. For the intarsia section, pick up the stitch from the row above and crochet. The exact insertion position and number of single crochets here can also be adjusted according to the situation as you crochet. As long as the fabric lies flat after completing the first round, that's fine. Once finished, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. That's it for this part. At this point, the first round is completed. Continue with the second round. Work 1 chain stitch. Then start crocheting reverse single crochets to the right. The technique for this stitch involves inserting the hook to the right into the stitch. Complete a regular single crochet. That's how you finish 1 reverse single crochet. Keep going with more reverse single crochets to the right. Continue all the way around until the round is complete. After finishing, pick any 2 strands on the right and slip stitch. Pull tight. Then weave in the ends on the wrong side. That concludes the explanation of edging 2. Up to this point, the section on crocheting edgings is complete. Next, let's look at the decoration part. It includes button attachment and decorations. The decorative elements vary depending on the colorway. Now, let's start by attaching the buttons. Let's take a look at the actual project. The buttons are attached to the intarsia sections of the fabric piece. 1 button is sewn onto each pointed corner at the top. Then, 2 buttons are sewn on each side of the fabric pieces in symmetrical intarsia sections. 2 buttons are attached to each side. Pay attention to distribute them evenly. On the pointed corners, sew the buttons at the very tip. On the sides, sew them closer to the edging. This aligns the small holes in the motif group for buttoning. This makes it convenient to fasten the buttons. The method of securing the buttons can be random. Use the yarn from the intarsia's edging to sew securely at the corresponding position. Make sure it is tightly sewn in the correct place. That concludes the process of attaching the buttons. Here, I'll demonstrate with an actual project how to turn a blanket into a pillow. First, fold inward along the long edge of the motif section. The overlapping part should be roughly folded in. After tidying it up neatly, form it into a square shape. At this step, you can insert the pillow core. I'm only demonstrating the method here. I will skip adding the pillow insert for now. Next, fold inward along the long edge of the intarsia section again. Then locate the chain space at the pointed corner of the intarsia. following a clockwise direction. Attach it sequentially to the adjacent intarsia piece. Here, the chain stitch is positioned below the button. Then secure it onto the next button. After completing this, move on to fasten the side edges. Pass the button through the small holes in the edging pattern. This way, the blanket is assembled into a pillow. After the buttons are attached, let's move on to making the decorations. We'll start with the Forbidden City winter scene style. Those learning the Divine Might Gate design can skip this part of the explanation. The decorations for this design are divided into small plum blossoms and large plum blossoms. The crochet technique is almost the same. Both use the magic ring method to begin, then crocheting in rounds counterclockwise. No new stitch patterns are used here. Now, let's start with the large plum blossom. Begin with a magic ring, then work 1 chain as beginning chain. Crochet 5 single crochets. Tighten the yarn loop. Join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Now move on to the second round. In the first stitch, crochet continuously. 2 chain stitches, 1 double crochet, 2 treble crochets. One double crochet, 2 chain stitches, and 1 slip stitch. That completes 1 petal. Let's crochet another petal now. On the stitch on the left, make 1 slip stitch. Then 2 chain stitches, 1 double crochet, 2 treble crochets. One double crochet, 2 chain stitches and 1 slip stitch. That completes another petal. Repeat this process to finish the entire round. After completing it, leave a long yarn tail before cutting the yarn. This finishes 1 large plum blossom. After finishing, sew decorative strands on top of the plum blossom. Cut about 30 centimeters of the required yarn. Thread 1 strand through a sewing needle. Leave a yarn tail and come out from the center of the plum blossom. Insert into the center of the petal. This sews a long line. Then, between 2 petals, sew a short line. The length and position of the decorative strands can be referenced from the actual project, or you can adjust according to personal preference. Sew all around like this. After sewing, take the starting and ending yarn tails, tie 2 knots together to secure. Trim any excess yarn tails. This completes the decorative strands. Next, attach the large plum blossom to the desired position on the diagonal section. The exact position can be referenced from the actual project, or you can adjust according to your preference. Thread the reserved yarn tail onto a sewing needle. Pick up line segments on the surface of the fabric piece, and the line segments on the back of the large plum blossom. Sew together in a circle. While sewing, pay attention to the inner circle. The edge of the petals can remain unsewn. Then weave in the ends and fasten off the yarn. This secures the large plum blossom in place. For the rest of the smaller plum blossoms, their creation and sewing, you can follow the demonstration for the large plum blossom. Up to this point, the tutorial for the winter scene at the Forbidden City decoration is complete. Next, let's look at the decoration for the Shenwu Gate. It is divided into the door ring, plaque, edging 1, and edging 2. Let's start by crocheting the door ring. Use the magic ring method. No new stitch techniques are used. Mindfully finish it and use an invisible join to connect the beginning and ending of the round. Now, let's show. After the magic ring, work 1 chain. Tighten this chain. Then on the magic ring loop, crochet 5 single crochets. After completing, tighten the magic ring loop. Leave a 20 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Simply pull out the yarn tail. Thread it onto a yarn needle. Insert from the first stitch. Pass through the last stitch back loop, and the rear thread. Slightly tighten this loop. This completes the door ring. Match it up with the corresponding position on the actual project for assembly. Here, I'll demonstrate the installation method. After placing the door ring in the corresponding position, pass the sewing needle through the fabric piece. The starting tail is hooked slightly apart from the crochet piece at a small distance, and then brought to the wrong side of the fabric. Apply a little alcohol glue on the wrong side. Then place it into the correct position. Press slightly to secure it firmly. On the wrong side of the yarn tails, tie 2 knots and then trim off the excess tails to fasten off the yarn. This completes the creation and installation of one door ring. Continue working on the plaque. Start with a chain stitch for the foundation chain. Work back and forth in rows. The new stitch technique used is SC3 in 1. Now, let's show. First, make 5 chain stitches. Then, make 1 beginning chain. Pick up 1 strand from the top of the left side chain. Work single crochets evenly into each stitch. Continue all the way down to complete the row. This finishes the first row. Now work on the second row. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn the piece over. Work single crochets into each stitch in sequence. Complete this row. This finishes the second row. Continue crocheting back and forth in single crochets. You need to work a total of 7 rows. Here is the completed swatch after finishing. Secure the yarn and fasten off the yarn tails. Continue with the 8th round. Turn the piece over. Join the yarn at the last stitch. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Crochet 3 single crochets into 1 stitch. That is, work 3 single crochets in the same position. This completes the SC3 in 1. Then crochet 3 more single crochets. Another SC3 in 1. After completing, find the insertion point on the left side of the single crochet row. Correspondingly, crochet 6 single crochets. After finishing, you reach the starting chain position. This is the insertion point for the first row. Crochet 3 single crochets into 1 stitch on the edge. Three single crochets. 1 SC3 in 1 is completed. After finishing, continue at the insertion point on the left side of the single crochet row. Crochet 6 single crochets correspondingly. After completing, follow the invisible bind-off method for the ring. Perform an invisible finish. This completes the banner. Next, make edging 1 and edging 2. Here, edging 1 is worked evenly without increasing or decreasing in different positions. The required colors and lengths are different. The crochet technique is the same. For edging 2, follow the diagonal section. Crochet along the outline of the corresponding color. You will need to increase or decrease stitches while crocheting. After completing all of edging 1 and edging 2, glue them on at the corresponding positions. Let's start with edging 1. Take out the corresponding color yarn. Then start with a chain stitch. Crochet to the desired length. Here, you can make the starting chain slightly loose. After completing the chain, confirm the length. Then pick up the back loop of the chain. That is, the horizontal strand on the back of the chain. Start crocheting loose slip stitches using the back loop. Continue all the way down the chain. After finishing, stretch the yarn tail and cut it off. That's how you complete one edging 1. On the side facing us, there are 2 braid textures. This side is the right side. After completing the edging 1, tie the 2 yarn tails into a knot. Tighten it. Pick up the line segment from the wrong side and thread it through. Trim any excess yarn tails. Then apply glue on the wrong side. Be mindful not to use too much glue to avoid leakage. Finally, attach it to the corresponding position. And press it securely. That's how one edging 1 is assembled. Compare with the actual project and crochet and assemble the remaining edging 1 parts. Next, we'll work on edging 2. I'll first use the actual project to show the starting position for edging 2. Here, there are 2 edging 2 sections. The middle part will be covered by the plaque. So, start the beginning chain from this position. Then, crochet while following the pattern outline. At these concave and convex corner positions. At the protruding positions, you need to increase stitches. At the indented positions, you need to decrease stitches. The indented and protruding positions refer to the corresponding side, where the slip stitches are made. Match these positions accordingly. Crochet while continuously comparing with the actual project. Now, let's show. Start with a chain stitch. Refer to the pattern to determine the required length for crocheting. Try to crochet a bit longer here. Any excess part can be trimmed later. It will be difficult to fix if it's not long enough later. I have already crocheted this part in advance. Since it's a sample for demonstration, the number of stitches is smaller. Now, start picking up the chain stitches. Crochet with loose slip stitches. Pay attention and keep comparing with the actual project while crocheting. Now let's crochet the decrease at the indented area. Simply skip 1 stitch. Then continue with a slip stitch on the next stitch. After crocheting a few stitches, you can see that the indented area forms a corner. For these kinds of dents, just skip 1 stitch while crocheting. Continue crocheting downward. When you encounter a raised position, you need to increase stitches. Here, crochet 2 slip stitches in the same stitch. 1, 2. Continue with a few more slip stitches. Take a look. The raised area forms a corner. For these kinds of raised positions, crochet 2 slip stitches in the same stitch. Refer to the demonstration here as you continue downward. Compare with the actual project. Crochet slip stitches, and form the corresponding pattern. When crocheting the actual project, since the pattern is large, you can pause after completing part of it. Take out the alcohol glue, and attach the completed section to the corresponding position. Note, apply glue on the wrong side. Any excess glue can be removed with a sewing needle. Apply glue in small amounts multiple times to prevent overflow. Press slightly for a while after attaching, which will make it more secure. There's no need to glue the entire piece, just attach part of it. This way, it won't affect the crocheting later on. Continue crocheting and attaching as you go. After completing, leave a yarn tail and fasten off. Then take the excess chain stitches from the braid. Leave a few stitches before cutting. Then unravel the chain following its texture. Stop unraveling when there's one stitch left before the slip stitch, then pull tight. Tie the 2 yarn tails together to secure, then cut off the excess yarn tails. Continue attaching the remaining sections. After attaching, one edging 2 is completed. Following the demonstration here, complete both edging 2 by crocheting and gluing them. Then take the plaque. Place it in the corresponding position, covering the beginning and ending yarn tails of the 2, edging 2. Next, use the reserved yarn tail to pick up stitches from the surface of the fabric piece, and connect it to the last round of the back side of the plaque. Sew together in a circular motion. After sewing, weave in the ends and fasten off the yarn. This completes the assembly of the plaque. That concludes the tutorial for the decorative piece, inspired by the Divine Might Gate design. Up to this point, the entire blanket has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.